Quit acting stupid. With
Bobby,
Jamie,
Rudy,
and
Andy.
Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Quit Acting Stupid. I am your host, Jamie Paredes, and joining me as always are my brothers, Bobby, Rudy, and Andy. Say hello, boys.
Hey, what's going on?
How's it going?
Good.
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
I just noticed I'm the only one without red. So,
Noticed that a while ago.
Yeah, actually got my Little League Broncos.
What?
The Blue Springs Broncos.
Wrong AFC West team.
It has Quentin's. It was his kindergarten flag football team, and I think he was. I mean, yeah, this shirt is like old enough to vote. So, anyway, enough with the.
Yeah. Well, I'll take it from here if you don't mind, Jamie. So we got a guest this week, 2 weeks in a row. That might be the first time that's happened ever. But it's a good friend of mine, someone I met in college, studying theater together, studying acting. He's here with us because he's a big Eagles fan, and we're going to talk some Superbowl today, and we'll get into just some more of his history and adventures. So interesting guy. Welcome, Chris Genovese.
Going. I noticed Andrew was clapping, so no one was going to add him to the stage. Like,
I was wondering how long it was going to take before somebody actually added him.
Yeah, I was waiting for that.
Is this live or can we try that again? I was trying to set up the bit because I thought of it too late, but
we need a designated adder.
I kind of assumed it was going to be Rudy. I don't know why we didn't talk about it.
I assumed it was going to be you because he's your friend, and then I saw you clapping, and I'm like, oh shit, nobody's going to add him in.
Remember what happens when you assume? You make an ass.
Oh, what is that?
Oh, and now he's showing.
What a surprise.
Oh my goodness!
And I was going to slide in like the asshole I am. Strike the code.
Like a true Sirianni disciple.
Wow.
So, those of you listening on Spotify, we have an Eagles background.
No. We do not. Chris, our guest, has an Eagles background. Wow.
My favorite form of podcast is when you have to describe each other's backgrounds to.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk more background because I know you as an Eagles fan. All right, segue.
Segue. Called a segue.
That was pretty solid. That was pretty smooth, actually.
Thank you. But I, just spending time around you, you've always come across as Georgia to me. I thought you were from Georgia. I know you're in Atlanta now. I don't know why, but you always struck me as Southern. But then I found out you were originally from
the last name. With the last name Genovese? The crime family?
Could be French. We don't know.
Yeah.
Some people don't know.
Yeah.
I do have a haircut and I do have I went in and it was like, give me the Georgia white. And this is what came out of it. Spotify, I have a goatee and slightly greasy hair that's slicked on the sides.
So Genovese. I feel like the majority of our guests, if you think back, have been Italian.
It's
Genovese, right?
Genovese.
It is technically. I said Genovese for a long time because that's what my grandma told me it was pronounced. There's an Italian restaurant here called Noni's in Atlanta that's owned by an old Italian man from the country. And he corrected me on how to pronounce my last name. He said it was Genovese, not Genovese. And I argued with him until
because he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, I just arguing with a 90-year-old man about how to pronounce this. I have no right doing that to him in his own establishment, but he did ask me to leave. That is a true story.
Wow. See, our grandmother, our maternal grandmother could not say our last name correctly, and she spoke Spanish. So go figure. I don't know how that. I still to this day don't know how that works.
Party.
Yeah.
Don't trust grandmas. That's the theme of episode 55.
It's a Spanish word, and yeah.
Quit acting stupid, grandmas.
Exactly.
There you go.
Actually, she was the one that gave us the title because she would always say that. She would always mainly direct it at Rudolph there, but
hers was more. Hers was more, you're acting dumb.
Yeah.
And then I think mom and dad, or dad, it became you're acting stupid. But yeah.
But anyway, so you come by your Eagles fandom, though. You've stuck with it because you've spent time in Chicago. You've lived in Atlanta for a while, but you hate the Falcons and the Bears, I believe. Is that right?
That is true, yeah. Well, you grow up, first of all, there's you grow up in Philadelphia. Philadelphia, very much like Chicago, has like a very the forgotten middle child syndrome kind of city, even though we were the first capital of our great country. But I'm not even from Philadelphia. I'm from a place called Exton, which is 35 minutes northwest of Philadelphia, which is like being the Philadelphia to Philadelphia, because you just feel underappreciated. And like you constantly have to, what is it? What's the term? You said be succinct, and I've immediately thrown off the map. Andrew's one note to us before this was, keep it short, guys.
You're embarrassing me.
No, it's okay, because
I'll throw you a lifeline there. So not only was Philadelphia have like a middle child complex, but now you're in a suburb of Philadelphia, so you're even more removed than that. Is that what you're saying?
People, that's exactly. Can we start again? Can we start the entire podcast again?
Yeah, I was late on the trigger on that one.
Fuck, that was good. Oh, and you told me not to say fuck. God. Guys, I'm having a mild nervous breakdown right now.
And we are enjoying watching it. But let's try to pull it up here.
Yeah, we go to an ad break. We go to an ad break real quick.
And scene.
The one problem with that is that we have no sponsors. At least not yet.
We tried.
Jamie is
barely
right.
have viewers.
If you say and scene to me, I will immediately reset and become a normal person again. That is correct.
Right. Nobody's listening anyway.
That's a good point. That's the other joke that we have, running gag that nobody's really watching, so you could really say whatever the hell you want. The only people we know for sure are watching are mom and dad. They will ask us, when's your next episode coming out? So other than them, don't worry, say whatever you want. We don't know if it's true or not, and quite honestly, nobody's watching anyway.
Great.
Yeah. So were you outside Philadelphia then up until college, or were you moving around before we met?
Moving around before you met. I left when I was 14, and I lived in Iowa for a year, and that was Des Moines, Iowa. A lot of fun.
By choice?
No, it was the true story of it is the true deep story, and to tie it back to parenting, since I believe you guys talk a lot about parenting, is my parents split up when I was real little, right? And my mom lived in Colorado while I lived in Pennsylvania with my dad for a very long time. Then she decided to come back because she wanted to be in my life, because my dad, since no one's listening, is psychotic. And so my dad was like, wow, we can't stay here now that your mom moved. So he dragged us to Iowa a couple years later. And then my mom was talking about moving to Iowa. And so he's like, we're going to move to Georgia. And that just happened for a few years. Yeah.
So he kept trying to get away from your mom.
Yeah. The more my mom tried to get into my life, the more my dad tried to take me away from her. So
wow, that kind of brought things.
We could explore that. That's a whole episode in itself.
Where's the sound drop on that?
Yeah, I was gonna say we don't have a drop for that one.
Oh, it's good. It's good.
That's interesting. I did not know any of that, because I believe all the time I knew you were close with your mom.
Oh, right. Close with my mom. Yeah.
So that must have happened at some point, right? Then there must have been a switch there. If your dad you came to the realization that he was psychotic and kind of went the other way then.
Yeah. I figured it out around 11 or 12 that my dad was psychotic, but no, it did. It came to an end like sophomore year of high school, because my mom had moved to Georgia. And my dad was like, we're going to move to Cincinnati, Ohio. No, it wasn't. It was Traverse City, Michigan. And then there was a whole moment where my mom was like, you just have to say something to him, which is a terrifying thing for the child of a psychotic father. I mean, it sounds like you guys got really nice parents.
We'll keep them.
We'll keep them, yeah. The cricket sound is inappropriate and unnecessary. This is I'm hearing my soul here. No, that's when it stopped. It stopped like sophomore year of high school. It's like, no, we're not gonna go to Michigan. I'm just gonna stay here, live out high school in Georgia, and then
Okay, cool. Okay, so then what led you to Loyola then? Like, I assume you could have gone to a few different places. What was appealing about it, and then what led you there?
They said that I could act in their productions as early as a freshman, and DePaul said I had to wait through their conservatory program, and so I chose Loyola.
But you knew Chicago's where you wanted to be.
Either Chicago or New York, but I really wanted to go to Chicago because of Second City and the improv scene and just being in love with theater.
Oh man, if I could do it all over again, God, Second City.
Same here. I mean, I knew I wanted to go study acting, but I didn't know where. I knew like to get into some of the schools on the coasts, you had to have better, really good test scores, really good SAT scores. I didn't do well on tests, but I got into Loyola and I figured Chicago, that's, like you said, Second City, Steppenwolf. There's like a hub there. But the problem is there's a lot of problems, but one of which being is, there's so many different avenues you could go. You could go the improv Second City route, or you could go Steppenwolf, or you could go, you could look to the Writers Theater or whatever. I forgot what that was, Court Theater maybe. And like there were different places all over the city because it's a huge city with a great theater industry. But there was almost too much. It was almost too much. And as a student, like I never had the confidence. Like what was great was there were quite a few people we went to school with who were out there doing that while we were doing, the university productions.
Right.
Go ahead.
I feel like we became very insular. Like we became very comfy with college and like that program. And it was just being safe. It was getting experience and all this blah, blah, blah. But I think more than anything, at least for me, it was just a safety net to stay there and be constantly embraced by the love and validation for everybody, where outside was scary. But then you go outside and it's actually not that scary and it's not nearly as well run. I think that was the big takeaway from college, is they go through, there's all this regiment, especially for like a very specific major like theater. And everything is done like perfectly in this perfect vacuum in terms of budget and time and rehearsal. And then you go out and act in the real world and it's like, oh, no one has their shit together at all. And everyone is just scraping by, even in very like professional, even very professional theaters act like that. So I don't know if I feel like that is a very relatable thing when you realize, oh, college is just like, it's, what do you call it? It's like a dollhouse. Like, and everything is pristine and perfectly placed inside. And then you think that's what a real house is going to look like and act like. And then you move into a real house and everything is like leaking and you need the new paint job because there was lead from the previous tenant. And that's what real life is.
Yeah. Very different than the school environment.
Yeah. And I just feel like being in Chicago, like it would have been, we had a lot of resources there to us where we could have gotten out a little earlier, I think. But
for sure,
and that's when we talk, like, because I know Rudy, you said that's one of your, if you could do it over again, that's one of, if I could do it over again, because I felt like, oh, I made the right decision. I was there. Like I always hear stories of like, well, A.D. Bryant was at school at DePaul when I was there, or at Columbia College, and somebody who was at Northwestern. Like you hear about the people that. Yeah, you hear about the people that were like there in Chicago when we were there, just at different schools doing other things. And it's like, man, I was there. I could have, if I just would have had a little bit more guidance. Yeah.
If you would have had just a little bit more what? Finish that comment or that thought.
Talent?
I don't know. Ganas.
No, not talent.
No, not
ganas.
The ganas, right? The
yeah,
desire.
Absolutely. Or well, just I just was scared. And because, kind of like you were talking about, Chris, like you were able to act right away when you got into Loyola and you were just a year older than me. So I feel like that 1 year difference, like nobody my freshman year got into any main stage shows, I think, except for Shannon Hollander, just the one.
Mr. Redlosk did.
Well, there wasn't a main stage show. That was like a black box thing. But yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
And there were, if you want to add that, there were like maybe 2 or 3 more. But for the most part, we were kind of shut out. So here I am going into my sophomore year. I still haven't done anything but some stage readings. So it was still also a little discouraging, or at least I wasn't ready to take a leap outside of that comfort zone yet. Took me a little longer anyway.
How so? Just so that we don't get bogged down in talking about our memory lane, I want to open up to everyone. Did you guys come down and see the productions that Andrew was in throughout his time there?
Yeah, I think we were pretty supportive. Yeah, I remember seeing one in the Black Box Theater. I don't remember what it was because I'm 50 years old and my memory's poor these days. But I do remember going up there and seeing you in something.
Yeah, I remember you came to see Guys and Dolls because you got there late. You want to tell this story?
Go ahead, tell it, because I don't know the story.
You don't remember the story? Okay, so you, Mom and Dad, and I think maybe Miranda came up to see Guys and Dolls because it's a big musical on the big show. Chris was in the show, so you would have seen him in there. But it was a fun time. You guys came, but you stayed outside the city. You stayed in like Evanston or something and drove in.
Oh.
But when you drove into the school, you couldn't find parking or you couldn't whatever. You were late. You were delayed. And so you got there maybe 15 minutes late and they would not let you in for the first act.
Yes.
Do you remember that, Jamie?
No. It's like Mexicans they were on Mexican time. Like Mexicans are always late. What's your problem? Get there on time.
I'll say it's true.
It wasn't a big deal for Mom, Dad, and Miranda because they stayed another night, I think, to see it a second night. But you just came for the one night and left. If I remember right.
I could see him trying to get through the row, spilling his popcorn. Excuse me.
But you know what? You're not the only person in the family that has some acting talent.
Cue eye roll.
This is all news to me. Who else?
I'm going to share with you, Chris. I was in college and I tried out for a college production at Rockhurst College, now Rockhurst University here in Kansas City, Missouri. And
I love that story.
I saw a posting and it said, just come try out. And I did. And the director said, show me something. Just there's nothing you're going to read from. Just go ahead.
So he dropped his pants. And he didn't get the job.
Now that your mind's out of the gutter, I actually just said, okay, well, in the back of my mind somewhere, I had characterized the vatos, the cholos, and so I just did this gangster. See, you can already hear it in my voice. I mean, this is kind of what I turned into. And lo and behold, guess what? I got the part.
This is where cringeworthy came in.
But better look. I was nervous because I was like, "Ooh, I don't know." I quit. So I got the part, won the role. It was Lend Me a Tenor. I don't remember which role. I quit. And
I know which role.
There you are. I got it. I can prove it to myself. I proved it to myself. I could get a spot.
I quit.
Dynamite drop in money.
I quit. How did you quit? Was it like a mic drop moment, or you just didn't show up?
I just didn't show up. I got nervous. I got cold feet. I was like, "Ooh, this is serious."
I quit
every night.
I quit. I quit.
You just ghosted him?
Have you guys ever surprised yourself and you're just like, whoa, I did not think that would happen. I was not expecting to actually get the part. And now this is, rehearsal every night. I said practice, athletics. It's rehearsal every night. And then you've got to, do the show. And I was just like, I don't know. That's a little too much. I performed. I think I quit like the next day or 2 days later. So it's not like I let them go a full week into the, before I told them, but.
I was hoping you were going to say it was like opening night. You were in the middle of a solo and you're like, I don't think it's for me, guys.
I'm not feeling it tonight.
Yeah.
I will say I was Jack in my 5th grade production of Jack and the Beanstalk at Holy Cross. So
you were you were the titular character.
I was the main.
You seem like a
character.
Jack.
Yeah, right. Yeah, real Jack energy.
Oh boy.
So I performed. I performed with some other fraternity members. We performed.
I'm sure you performed in a lot of them, but
that's X-rated though. We can't talk about.
We performed.
Lined them up.
Rico Suave.
You lined up 3 other guys and made like a circus seal.
Why would you?
Hey, mom, just forward the next 10 seconds.
Don't Mom didn't get it. Mom didn't get it.
I'm telling.
Oh boy.
Mom did not get it, but you're the one that said you performed in front, for your.
Yeah. No. Yes. Right? Sorry, Jimmy. Tell us about the crime you and the frat people committed.
No, it's just. You guys don't recognize talent, so
tell us about Rico Suave. You performed in Rico Suave. What'd you do? Dance?
Yeah. I mean, I got all the moves.
He's got the moves like Jagger.
So you danced for some frat boys, and then what happened?
With.
I'm sorry, yeah, you danced with.
As if that sounds any better.
It does.
Hey guys, I love women.
All right. Well, so I meet Chris in Chicago at Loyola. I'm a freshman. He's a sophomore. I'm on the run crew of a play, an August Wilson play called Joe Turner's Come and Gone. Now, if you guys don't know August Wilson, he's an incredible playwright, but he writes a lot about the Black experience throughout the 1900s. He wrote there's a 10 play series of one each decade. It archives the history of America, of African Americans. Well, Chris is naturally they came to Chris. He plays the only white character in this play. So do you think he was a good guy?
I'm guessing you were the slave owner.
Do you think?
Slave catcher, to be exact.
Even better.
Big difference.
Wow. Big difference.
Wow.
So that was.
Were we not cool before that, or was that that was the moment we became friends?
I think that's where we might have been like Facebook friends, but that's where we started talking and hanging out a little bit. And I got to know you because I was always on the sides, and you weren't in the show that much. You had 2 scenes. They were great scenes, by the way.
Wow, way to slam them. You weren't in the show that much.
3 scenes.
I was in the show just enough. Go on, Andrew.
But no, that's where I kind of got to know I remember really. Maybe it was that role, just being the one white guy in the black show where you had to say the N-word. You had to say some kind of shitty stuff to them.
Wow. And what's the N-word?
What a jerk.
What word are you talking about?
It's a variation.
Everything you're doing is bad.
It was a variation. It was a variation of it, to be fair. But I think right away, I just thought, man, this guy, he's got balls, or
this guy's got similar ideas to me. I gotta talk to him.
He's improvising those lines, right?
And then you, Chris, you then had to explain to Andrew, no, I was just acting. That was a character.
He came up to me. I remember this. He came up to me while I was having a cigarette, and he handed me a pamphlet, and he's like, a couple of us are getting together. And I was like, no, it's not. I'm just, you'll get it one day, freshman, when you act like.
Oh, man. But I got to say, in all honesty, though, man, we went to school with a lot of great, talented people, but you were my favorite performer to watch. And I loved everything you did. And I got to say, we did a show called The Visit, my sophomore year at Loyola, where you played I guess sort of the mayor. It was set in a German town. So, the German mayor of this town.
The burgomaster.
The Burgomaster, that was the name. You sported a look that you will forever have my respect forever. Should I show what it looks like in the show first, or just what you look like in your everyday life?
Whatever you want to do, man.
Let's see the show first. Show the show.
Let's see the show first. So here's the show. Chris is there on the right.
The one on the right.
Now, you might be wondering if that's some sort of effect or if he has a bald cap. No.
Oh, there it is.
Wow.
So you did all that for the role, man. That's how you get.
The guy on the Muppet on Sesame Street that eats at the diner and Grover's the.
There's a fly in my soup. If he would just do blue face, he would look just like that guy.
Oh man,
pretty spot on actually.
But man, I do want to know what was that period of time like, because you sported that for about a month, 3 weeks
in January and February in Chicago. Yeah, listen.
So you had a hat on a lot.
I wasn't like known for taking care of my health or just being a.
Bring that picture back.
Really,
Andrew,
really, this picture? You think this looks like a well adjusted?
Okay,
look at those dark circles. This man is dead. Actually,
I feel like he's given a little Cookie the Clown as well. Also based on Cookie.
Yeah.
Cookie the Clown. You guys Bozo fans at all?
From the Bozo show.
Bozo. Yeah.
His sidekick, Cookie the Clown.
Yeah.
I just know that
giving Cookie the Clown.
The eyes are going in different directions. Each eye is focusing on a different thing in this picture.
Also, a Dr. Phil there. A little Dr. Phil.
Oh, very much so.
Yeah.
So you're really committed to the role then, huh?
Oh, yeah. Look at
They
that.
had
Paid
like
off.
they had a drawing of the character. You go in for like when they're doing their costumes, you do fittings and stuff, and they show you drawings of it, and they drew it with the bald, and I'm like, oh, so you're gonna shave my head? And they're like, no, we wouldn't ask you to do that. It's the winter in Chicago, you idiot. And I was like, okay, I'll just do it then. And I could have done it like the day before, but I did it 2 weeks before the show, so I had to keep getting my
So
Wow.
shaved every 2 days. He would grow like this thin orange fuzz on the top. So I had to.
Yeah, you see that in the previous picture. Put the picture back up.
Yeah,
I-
bring it back.
you see that at the front, don't you? I mean, well,
you
maybe
can
not.
see where you can see where the hairline starts. But yeah,
Right.
our friend.
So
of
was
ours-
a
Yeah.
bald cap not an option? Was a bald cap not an option?
Not in the budget.
not in the butt. Also, that would have looked silly. It had to be done.
Oh, of course. You're right. That would have looked silly.
Andrew's roommate at the time, a lovely woman named Sarah Pretz, she would shave my head, and multiple times she cut my head. So not only dead of winter, bald head, but I had an open. You can't see it in these pictures. There's an open cut on the top.
Oh man.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
For
But
art.
you know what? All for the craft and
for the
respect.
craft.
Respect. Like you got it. Y'all always have my respect for that. But then yeah, shortly after that, so we're hitting it off at this time. I think shortly after that, we decide maybe we're going to live together for a year.
Yes.
And that doesn't quite. We were talking about this a little bit before we started recording. Didn't quite go well. It was probably a pretty dark time.
What happened?
Because I don't have money.
Well, that'd be one reason.
Well, the apartment was. I actually liked the apartment as it was, but you had already been living there for a year.
Yeah.
And it showed. And there was a lot of people that kind of came and went out of there. It wasn't, I don't know, it wasn't the safest.
It wasn't safe or hygienic. Yeah. There were syringes. Sure. Go on.
Who hasn't sat in a room with a hypodermic needle? I mean, come on.
Insulin, guys. Insulin.
Quit being such a prude.
But I think, so I come to move some stuff over. Actually, I was just moving some stuff for like storage, like, because I was going to come back at the end of the summer, but at the beginning of the summer, we're just going to move a few things over. And Jamie was there. He doesn't quite remember it, but my parents were there. And it didn't take long for anyone with the last name Paredes to realize this probably isn't going to work.
Your mom, I remember, had the look that moms get when they know that they've made up their mind and the answer is no, but they're too polite because I'm in the room. Like that glazed look they get where like, I don't need to see anymore. Okay, this is very nice. And then as soon as you're at earshot, you're like, no, Andrew, no.
Well, and to be fair, like my mom would freak out over stuff that would not even be the issue. Like, I don't think she got past the fact that the train tracks were right there. And it's like, well, you're going to get rats coming in here all the time. Like,
which was never an issue.
No.
Do rats,
but I mean, like,
do rats
take
the train? Yeah.
What
are the train
the
tracks?
little hobo rats in the
knapsack?
Yeah.
Rats take the L, yeah.
Slowpoke Rodriguez.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. But unfortunately, so anyway, the time came where I needed to back out and I needed to let you know. And the timing was not great because then there were going to be 4 of us living there, I think.
There's going to be 2 of you because the previous 2 roommates were leaving. So it was going to be you and my friend Sam. And my friend Sam died. And then I just have the best stories. Psycho dead friend. My friend died before he was going to move to Chicago, and then it was
fucking great.
Fucking great. I agree. And then Andrew pulls out of the deal, so I'm just left scrambling with a lease, and as a result of that, I ended up living with another gentleman who you might recall. Name was Jesse, who was maybe the worst human being I've ever met in my entire life.
Tell me he was a drug dealer.
Like weed, yeah.
So, I mean, not really.
We did. This is a true story.
Geez.
This was not long after I needed roommates, Andrew. And so Jesse filled that void like maybe a month later because it was still summer. I come downstairs and there's this like heavyset man in plaid and like one of the, what do you call it? A Confederate baseball cap, like that you would find at a gas station. And he is there and he's a fugitive from the law. There's a warrant out for this man's arrest because he had like, I forget what it was, but something to do with pounds of marijuana. And he's just sitting on the couch of this place in which I am the sole person on the lease talking about, his plight and the plight of all weed dealers and how it's, it's the government's fault that he's there and he's not doing anything illegal. Well, he was doing something illegal and he was a fucking felon in my living room. And thereby I would be complicit in all of this. But yeah, he was a friend of Jesse. Jesse's a great guy. Jesse, if you're listening, thanks for all the memories. You made a lot of friends at Loyola. This is probably the most uplifting episode you guys have done, right?
Hey, well, Jesse, if you're listening, like and subscribe, buddy.
Smash that like button.
Important.
As long as you're watching.
Here with your friends.
But you know what, man? I that was just bad timing, bad circumstance. But
what you gonna do?
It was eventually though, because I think you ended up getting kicked out of that place.
Evicted. We ended up getting evicted from this place because it turns out I was the only one paying rent for 8 months, and we got served. We got served for $1,400. And then I got a call from the lawyer, from our landlord's lawyer, like a week later saying, hey, he made a mistake. And the total's actually $6,200, which scared the crap out of me. But I forget how it exactly works, but he couldn't do that. They sued us for $1,400, not $6,200, and they couldn't go back. And I remember being in the courthouse, like on opposite sides of this lawyer, and he's pleading the case. He's like, yes, I served them for $1,400, but they truly owe $6,200. And the judge looked at us, Jesse and I, sitting there, and then looked at this lawyer, this professional middle-aged man, and she's shakes her head at him, and she's like, how could you let these two idiots get away with this? You served them for $1,400. That's
Thank you, Your Honor.
Out of it. So we got out of it like
that sounds kind of crazy.
Buddy, we got lucky, but I feel so bad about it to this day because our landlord was a 90-year-old woman.
No. So you just stiffed a 90-year-old woman of about $5,000?
We stiffed a 90-year-old woman of $6,200 and destroyed that apartment. There were holes in the wall from when I got drunk and threw a full bottle of peanut butter into the wall. There was blood. There was just blood and other fluids everywhere. There's just trash.
That's disgusting.
That's
and
what
then,
you say.
It's Andrew your fault let me live with him.
To me.
I know all of this was building to the fact that once he got evicted and to make amends, I said, come live with us. Come live on the couch.
Yeah, well, that's disgusting.
I thought when you got served, it meant you just you lost in a dance battle or something.
It's your turn.
Yeah,
no one's gonna be in a dance battle. Okay.
Ooh, that's a challenge.
So you're the one serving. You're serving up.
Especially some 90-year-old woman. You could take her.
You stiffed her.
There was a front step it wasn't a step, but it was for the listeners on Spotify, my fingers are indicating that it was less than an inch. She needed help stepping up that little tiny step. That's the woman that we screwed over.
Oh, yikes.
Miriam, if you're alive today, then hey, you beat us all, buddy. Congratulations.
She herself is now stiff, probably.
That's what she said.
Rigor mortis jokes. Bet you didn't think you'd get rigor mortis jokes, huh?
You should do stand-up, Rudy. And on that note, I'm just the king of segues.
All the transition, yeah.
Right. Well, this is my first chance to kind of lead the show here. So, No, then so after college, we went our separate ways. I went back to Kansas City. Oh, I stayed in Chicago for a while. We were in Chicago for a little bit. And then I went back to Kansas City. And you went back to Atlanta? That's the first place you went? Okay. And is that where you started doing stand-up?
I did a little stand-up.
How much is a little? Because I saw a video you posted once on Facebook, or somebody posted of you doing it.
I did it. I had 2 stints that were about a year each. And I did not prepare well. So I'll say this. I was definitely not a good person back in my early 20s, most of the 20s. So leaving Chicago, I thought I was hot shit. I thought I would come to Atlanta and wouldn't have to put any effort into myself or any kind of craft or endeavor. And so I just kind of waddled into Atlanta thinking I was, they're going to love me. I'm from Chicago. And I joined the stand-up scene, and I was very, very quickly humbled by a lot of extremely talented people who took it very seriously and who were not lazy drunks like me. So yeah, I tried it for a little while. I bombed 95% of the time. And then, I had to do some self-correction and self-healing for a while. And then I tried it again. I was like, you know what? Screw this. I'm just going to do improv and sketch comedy and go back to acting. Stand-up is not my thing, man.
It was just because it didn't come natural to you. You had to work at it, and you were like, yeah, I'm not going to put in the time, or just kind of what was it that caused you to walk away? Because like Andrew said, several of us, have talked about getting up on stage, Rudy, and doing some stand-up.
And I would definitely encourage anyone to try it. And so there was 2 phases of this. And the first phase was that I would just get up on stage and very loosely think I could connect bits, but I didn't write any jokes or punchlines. So 5 minutes is an ocean of time, and 5 minutes is open mics, right? But, what was it, 24, 25 or whatever it was. It's it didn't really matter where you had to be or any time of night. So you're there till 1 a.m., 40th in line because nobody knows who the hell you are, blabbering away with your bits that aren't going anywhere because you didn't take 2 seconds to write a punchline or prepare. And then 8 or 9 or 10, whatever it was, 8 or 9 years later, when I tried it again, I was just at a different phase of life when I was I'm in my, I think I was 32 or 33 at the time. I just don't want to stay out till 1 or 2 a.m. every night, which is what you have to do if you want to be a professional stand-up. You have to grind. You have to grind every night for years. And I didn't get the window. I mistreated the window, is what I'll say.
What clubs were down in Atlanta that you were working?
Oh, dude, there's a lot of clubs here. So back in the first stint, it was a little more opened up. The market wasn't as saturated in Atlanta. Now, so much talent comes to Atlanta from LA and Chicago and New York. But back then, it wasn't as saturated. So there was clubs like the Star Bar, which is a famous open mic in this market. Then the Laughing Skull, which is out of a restaurant called the Vortex, which is also very famous. The 527 Club, this old club that was out of an abandoned aviation hangar that was a makeshift bar. I forget what that was called. But all over the place, man. Coffee shops that would close down. You come and do open mics there. The Limerick Junction was one where I bombed the hardest, and that was my last stop on the first tour. I bombed so hard, I was like, I'm never doing this.
So
what was so bad?
The what's the word? The anatomy of a bomb. What? You're up there. Do you realize you're bombing at that moment? Do you start thinking about what the crowd is thinking as opposed to what you're saying? Go ahead.
Time just slows down. It's 5 minutes. When I said 5 minutes feels like an ocean of time, you're just wading in water and feeling every molecule around you, every uncomfortable thing.
Can you hear the audience talking between themselves, whispering or anything like that? That's what I'm imagining.
It's worse. You hear them breathing. You hear if they have you can hear if they have a problem with their a nasal problem. You can you can hear their skin move. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, that night.
I've always thought you could tell that somebody's not funny if the audience claps instead of laughs. Have you heard like comedians?
That's in those stadiums. Like he just saw Jerry Seinfeld and Jim Gaffigan, and so instead of laughing at some jokes, they would just politely clap, and that's where he's saying that.
Poor guy. Yeah.
I feel like if you're at a comedy club and you're bombing, you would welcome a clap at that point. Like
you'd welcome any kind of like encouragement whatsoever. But no, it's free. It's an open mic. Like it's just other comedians and then people who are drunk, who are not going to let you be vulnerable in your moment of pain and desperation. They're going to say something, or they're going to call you out, or they're just going to cough.
Did you have did you have a lot of hecklers that you had to deal with? Did you have any hecklers?
I never really had to deal with hecklers, weirdly enough.
Okay. They were all drunk by that point, and just
they were all drunk, or they were other comedians, and comedians don't heckle comedians.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
When I think of an open mic night, I'm thinking, okay, somebody like me who loves comedy, I'm not going to go to an open mic night to go watch a funny person, but I'm picturing drunk people, like you said, or the other comedians that are performing who aren't going to laugh for you because they want to win the open mic night, so they're. Well, I don't know. I feel like that's probably the toughest crowd out there as for an open mic night.
It is, and it's why it's like one of the toughest nuts to crack. Like if you want to be a professional comedian, you're successful, like you have to deal with doing your bits to silent rooms for a very, very long time. And it's not necessarily like winning, like it's not like a battle or a competition amongst the stand-ups in those settings, but they don't really care. They're looking at their own jokes. They're in the back of the room, or they're outside chain smoking, because that's what comedy clubs are. Comedy clubs are like the outside of an AA meeting. Like everyone's just fucking.
What did you? So backtracking a little bit, when you left college, did you think at all about going to New York or to LA? I mean, you said you went to Atlanta, but did you ever give any thought to LA or New York?
Definitely, man. My plan was that I was going to go to, because I know some filmmaker friends at the time who lived around Atlanta. That's close enough. So I was like, Atlanta's supposed to be an up and coming film market, so that's how I'll get into the door. But then a series of life choices and developments occurred, and I just gave up acting for like 8 or 9 years. Just got into corporate America and lived a pretty normal civilian life.
Got like a
what do we have here?
A badge? Is that a corporate badge?
That's a corporate badge.
Oh wow!
So that I could then
what a great timing, Bill.
Make that.
That's
good. That's a pretty good comparison. So for those on Spotify, we're looking at a picture of Chris and his corporate badge, and he's making a face that makes
somebody
him look.
Spray something in your eyes when
you know what? At that point, I think the future was just so bright he couldn't open his eyes.
It was the bright future of middle management at a corporation. I was like, I've made it, and that's what that face is.
As long as we're making comparisons, like I was going to say this earlier, maybe it's a stretch. I've got something that I could share, but so you guys are fans of Saved by the Bell, Andrew? I know you are, right?
Yeah.
Chris, to me, Chris is giving. Do you remember when the guy Zach needed somebody to pretend to be his dad? And he hired the I don't know if it was a gym teacher or he hired somebody to be his dad, and that's definitely what.
Please tell me you have a photo. Tell me
you hired his dad.
I don't remember this at all.
Okay,
I will say though too to for the people on Spotify, the picture that I showed too after the badge is a split screen because I feel like Chris's badge photo looks exactly like Nicolas Cage in Con Air. He's given very big Cameron Poe vibes.
Do you guys remember this episode?
Gosh. I do, and that's something I need to look
hilarious, dude.
I want to look up that actor.
Yeah, it's not so much the face but just his presence is giving this guy. It wasn't Max, but yeah. Anyways, I was a big Saved by the Bell fan. Sorry to sidetrack everything.
No, absolutely no.
That guy, that's the goal of every Atlanta actor, is to be a walk-on on a national sitcom right there. So I take it.
And how much do we wish we were in Chicago now when they have their whole NBC Wednesday night is just Chicago shows that they cast locally?
Oh no, man, Atlanta's pretty good in terms of that. Like there's a lot of stuff that goes on here. But yeah, did you ever regret leaving? I mean, I know you found your wife and you started a wonderful family, but before
I regret's a hard word because I do think about that a lot because I was planning on coming back. Like I was in Kansas City to pay off my student loans. And right as I was getting to that point, that's when I met Kaylee. And, can't say that I regret it because I have, great family now and things are really great. I wouldn't have any of the stuff that I have now that I love if I had done that.
Are they in the room? Is that why you're saying they're in the room with you now?
Yeah.
Why you're saying
they're looking at me right now. I'm blinking twice.
Put it in the chat what you really want to say.
Okay, gotcha. But I do miss, especially like I said, that kind of boom. I felt like Chicago kind of blew up a little bit too right after we left. I mean, it's always been a nice hub and everything, but at least as far as those shows coming and more productions coming, it seemed like I heard more once I left.
There was a lot there. There was a lot on the table, I'll say that for that time. I just remembered this, by the way. The very last night I was in Chicago, you and I were hanging out that night do you remember this?
I think I know where you're going, but go ahead.
We were hanging out on the beach after hours. We were drinking or something, and the cops came and gave us tickets. And I told you that I would pay the ticket for you since I got you in trouble with the police. And then I never did. I just fled the state.
I know. That was a learning lesson for me too, because I was also leaving like not long after that. And so I paid the fine, but I didn't have time to go down there to pay it in person. So I sent it through the mail like an idiot. And it never got there or whatever. So it was like what? I don't know, 25, 30, somewhere in the like
bucks. Yeah.
Something, right? I just sent it in the mail, whatever. It never got there. So like 6 months later, I got a call when I was back in Kansas City, like saying, okay, well now with all the fees, it's like $700 or something crazy like that. And at the time I was like, well, shit, I better pay that because I am going to be a Chicago resident again at some point in my life. Mm-hmm. And so I paid it and never moved back to the city. So whatever.
So you were a fugitive from justice. See, we didn't even know this about our own brother.
I tried to do it right, but I was an idiot.
I think I'm wanted in New Mexico for a seatbelt non-payment of ticket. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So we are just over 45 minutes in, and I think I finally pinned it down because you're giving anybody else a big Goldberg's fan? Uncle Marvin?
Yes. I do love Goldberg's, and yes, that is a good.
Okay, you guys seen this?
Just the actor in general. Just what's his name?
Thanksgiving just got a little bit safer.
I know this guy.
It's like Dan Fogel or something.
Yeah. No cop now. Okay, don't get sucked in. He's not a real cop. He's just an idiot that works in a mall.
Actually, Merman, for the record, I'm more than a cop.
All right.
Oh my God! If you told me that was you, I would totally believe it.
He's actually a friend of friends. Like I do know him. Like,
oh, you do?
Really?
I've met him multiple times. He's a very cool guy. I hate that he exists because he completely market corrected me as an actor. But like, there's one of him. Why would they need another one?
Going back to college, I thought you always had a Sam Rockwell vibe.
I was thinner then. Yeah.
Yes, I didn't want to say that, but that was part of it. But
the listeners on Spotify, Chris is a fat man. He has breasts where there shouldn't be breasts. Anyway, go on, Andrew.
My favorite part of the chicken.
Damn it! See now I'm
eyes. No.
God damn it! Where is it? There it is.
No one here did.
Anyway, so yeah, to put a wrap kind of on our history together before we get into the big game coming up here. Last couple things I was gonna say we'll have to do one just me and you, Chris, where we get in depth into some of the old college stories because I had a couple things written down here that we didn't even talk about. The time you did the dick in the box at a party. shortly after that.
All right,
after
Mom.
that viral video.
So this is a hit session. That's what this is. Like this is a
Come out, bucket naked.
Greatest hits is what I like to think of it
Wow.
I have to
Greatest
imagine this
hits.
is like boring for everybody else. Like this is fun.
as. Possibly.
for us.
I mean, this picture probably isn't too
Playing
boring.
with your dinghy.
Chris is naked in this picture. I should let you
There's a
guys know.
dinghy in this picture. You just can't see it.
Maybe you should have kept that part to yourself.
I'm very aroused. Yeah, well, that's disgusting.
And so there was a lot of crazy party stories that we'll have to dive more into some other time. But now moving forward, we have a big game coming up on Sunday.
Here we go.
And so now you cancel them.
Get them.
So
you got to beat somebody
you know,
before they can actually cancel you. But anyway,
having been an Eagles fan for so long, you're also an Andy Reid fan. Should we?
Big Andy Reid. You can't
Big
be
Red.
an Eagles fan without being an Andy Reid fan. Like it's I've rooted for the man like ever since he went to KC and had Alex Smith and was like going as far as he could possibly go with Alex Smith year after year. Man, I was like, yeah, Andy Reid's awesome. And then he gets Pat Mahomes, and everything that should have always come to Andy Reid comes to Andy Reid because he's the Montana to Andy Reid's Bill Walsh, and like everything turned out great for Andy Reid.
So if you're a fan of Andy Reid, are you a fan of almost Andy Reid?
I don't think he knows almost Andy Reid,
I
does
don't
he?
know almost Andy Reid.
Oh my God,
I don't either.
There's an Instagram follow, an IG follow for you. Look him up after the show. Almost Andy Reid. He's Jamie. He's the guy around town that is Andy Reid. He's in freaking commercials. Like I literally was, and his whole thing is he looks like Andy Reid or whatever. Carries a menu around with him.
I figured that part.
His voice, like he does a voice for like a radio commercial for a roofing company. I'm like, dude, your whole thing is you look like somebody. We don't care about your voice.
What you sound like. Because he constantly has to tell people in the commercial, this is
I'm
almost Andy Reid. Yeah.
Well, he was on
the stupidest thing.
He was on First Things First with Nick Wright like a week ago, and he like belted out like an opera. Like he's an opera singer.
What?
And
apparently he's a talented guy, but there's a follow for you on IG. Almost Andy Reid.
I'm looking right now. Oh, he's got the blue check and everything. He is legit.
Yep.
Yeah, man. But that's now awesome. You guys have moved on. You had Doug Peterson for a while, but now you're with Nick Sirianni. Are you a Nick Sirianni fan?
Big time. Just the most Philadelphia coach you could possibly ask for, man.
And I think that's why I hate Philadelphia. I think.
Yeah, dude, I get it.
Very accurate. Very accurate.
Hard to believe that a guy named Genovese would like a guy named Sirianni.
No, you know, he's from southern Italy. We're from northern Italy. We'll get along eventually. You know what I mean? I love Nick Sirianni. He's an emotional roller coaster of a man, but 4 straight playoffs, 2 Super Bowls in 3 years. Can't argue with the end result of what he's been able to do. And I don't think Jalen Hurts is like a great quarterback. And the fact that he's been able to do it with multiple offensive coordinators to bring them as far as he had 4 straight seasons is pretty awesome.
I'd like to add Sirianni to. We had that discussion, I think, a couple shows back about punchable faces. Definitely has a punchable face.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Especially after, I didn't think anything. I didn't care for him either way. I'd like him or dislike him. But then after they beat the Chiefs, what was it, in Arrowhead during a regular season game? He got into it with some fans. Was it last year? He got into it with some fans.
Yeah.
Mine's more the that last Super Bowl that they were in against the Chiefs, and he starts during the national anthem, and he gets the eye drops and the fake tears coming. And I'm like, oh my gosh, dude, really? He knows the camera's on him. He's like, I'm crying. It's so emotional.
Chris Jones does that. You don't say anything.
You know what though? I heard that Chris Jones isn't crying. Like that's his eyes are. I don't know. That's silly though. When people are like, "Oh, Chris Jones is crying. You better get out of the way." Like, come on, relax, everybody.
Get it together. Come on.
I hate when people say that. I hate when people say Chris Jones is crying, get out of the way. I hear it every day.
Trust me. If you were in Kansas City, you'd hear it. Oh my God, look at Chris Jones is crying. You better watch out. Oh, bro.
I'd hate to be the other team. Yeah.
Yep. It gets that way. So
So can we assume then that you're predicting a Super Bowl victory for the Eagles?
Man, it's hard. It's so hard to go against you guys, especially.
We're not playing.
Huh?
That's one of Jamie's big thing. We're not playing.
Oh, my bad. I'm
just-
sorry. I thought I was talking
gonna
to Kansas City Chiefs right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna be pounding wings and pizza. So I'm not gonna. I definitely won't be winning for sure. So,
I get winded going up the stairs. Yeah, I'm not playing.
How do you bet against the? It's so hard to bet against the Chiefs. Yeah, I want the Eagles to win. I think it'll be a close game. I think it'll be a field goal game either way. But it's so hard to say like, no, Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid aren't going to win the Super Bowl.
I was hearing that there have been 4 or 5 quarterback rematches in the Super Bowl. Manning, Brady, Aikman, Kelly, and it's always a sweep. And whenever there's been a rematch within two teams in a Super Bowl within an 8-year span, I think it was, it's always a sweep. So,
you're right, it is because Staubach, Bradshaw, that was a sweep.
Mm-hmm.
I guess they're all sweeps. Holy crap! Also, this is another teams that have scored as many points or about as many points as the Eagles scored 2 weeks ago. They usually don't win the next game in the playoffs.
Yeah, you should have saved some of those points for the Super Bowl. Yeah, scored too many in the.
I got another one too. When my girlfriend wears her Pacheco jersey, they always win. So that's part of it too. I think
we might give her a little bit of crap for that, but yeah,
that there's a few other. She has to have the right pants on it. Yeah, so watch out, Eagles.
Like
Watch out, Eagles.
You guys are feeling good there on sitting on your red throne of.
I think so. I don't. Are you guys concerned that we're going to lose this game? All right, let me back up. It's going to be
Chiefs are going to lose.
I got to say all the right things. It's going to be a good game. It's going to be a close game. It's going to go all the way to the fourth quarter. At the end, who do you think wins?
Well, it's just like last week or the AFC Championship game where I just felt like, I believe the Chiefs can win, no doubt, because they have. But you just think like, well, is this the time? I don't know. I'm never super cocky. I'm always like, this could be the time when, Buffalo's got to win at some point. But I got to learn to just be confident in them. You know what I mean? Because we grew up. That's the other thing too. People, if you've been a Chiefs fan for a long time,
losers forever.
I had our mutual friend Pat Snyder. I remember sitting there in 2013, first playoff game that Andy Reid coached against the Colts, which we ended up losing.
Yes,
but he texted me at halftime like, "Doth my eyes deceive me? Are the Chiefs winning a playoff game or something? Something shit like that?" And I'm just like, "It's true. Like we never won anything growing up, and
we didn't win that game either."
No.
They were up big.
And
I was working Best Buy at that time. I remember watching that. It was terrible.
It was a great game. Awesome. If you had money on Andrew Luck, it was a great game.
That was before betting came to Kansas City. So
I don't, guys, and no disrespect to the Eagles, but I don't think they're anywhere near what the Bills or the Ravens or.
That's disrespectful.
Absolutely insane.
I don't think the Eagles are very good at all. Like
the Eagles have the best roster in football of all 32 teams. I have no problem with us taking on the Bills or the Ravens. I'm only worried about the Chiefs because you're the Chiefs and magical things happen.
I don't think
the only reason I'm worried. Like we are a better team on all levels except for quarterback. That's the
Eagles
and head coach. Those are the and maybe defensive coordinator. But other than those three. We are stacked, and we're built to beat the fuck out of you guys, but we'll lose by 3 points.
Here's why I'm a little more concerned this time around as opposed to 2 years ago whenever we played them last. They've got
so many Super Bowls I can't remember.
Saquon, you're going to say Saquon Barkley.
Yeah,
but what running back has run the Chiefs, out of the game? Nobody.
No one this year.
No running backs. Derrick Henry, no, stopped him. I mean, like literally stopped every single one of them.
Yep.
I mean, he is the best in the NFL, Saquon Barkley. So I guess that could happen.
I'm not defensive line against your beat up offensive line. That's to me what it comes down to. But at the end of the game, if you guys have run 60, 65 plays and then you get the ball back with, one drive to go, that team's going to be gassed. I don't care how good the Phillies defense is. And that's kind of how you guys win. You guys play everyone at their level with just enough time to win. Every single game this season, except for maybe that Steelers blowout at the end. That's how all of your wins have been. That's you can't deny the recipe. It's a winning recipe.
It's like they're toying with people almost.
It really is a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
We talk whatever, 3 quarters, and I guess we're gonna win.
I will say, growing up, probably my favorite player was Randall Cunningham, which I don't even know if you were born then, but I loved Randall Cunningham.
My favorite, yeah.
Great. He's my favorite quarterback. But anyways, go ahead, Bob.
No, I was just gonna say before we get to the end of the show, I know you had talked pre-show about will you be putting in any wagers? Is wagering? Well, maybe don't answer it, but I was gonna ask: is it legal in Atlanta?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, you're good there.
Yeah, I was gonna say we had a bet on the Super Bowl 2 years ago, and I believe I won $20. Should we just do that again? A little $20 on the Chiefs?
Just a money line bet. Sure. Yeah. $20.
I mean, we can make it more interesting than that. We could throw something else in there, but I think we should just do at least a flat.
That's totally fine. I am going to bet the under on the game. I will reveal that to America that I'm betting the under.
Okay.
48.5. So I'm betting under.
I did see that it's the second-ranked defense against the fourth-ranked defense. So yeah, I think scoring might be a little tough, but I don't know.
Is there a hotline that people could call to get your picks for the game?
It's a 1-900 number. I think it's the last 1-900 number in the country.
Another stat I heard too is I believe Patrick Mahomes is undefeated against Vic Fangio.
I did see that as well. 5-0.
8-0.
It's great talking, guys. Wish you the best of luck. I've got to catch a bus, actually. Yeah, a bus that goes right by my apartment.
Did you say you got to jump in front of a bus? Save that till Sunday night.
When I say catch a bus, I mean catch the front of the bus.
Okay.
Oh man. Do you what is your opinion on the narrative around the Chiefs with all the complaints about the refs and all that stuff?
I think it's stupid.
Yeah.
I think it was actually Nick Wright, because you listen to him, right?
Yeah.
Nick Wright
He
made such a good argument about like look at everything that they did. What was the point he was trying to make? Like, they changed rules to benefit Josh Allen because Josh Allen, they felt like Josh Allen got stiffed. And then they don't do any of that for the Chiefs. Like, the Chiefs didn't get the ball back in their first championship game against the Patriots with Pat Mahomes. You didn't see them whine. You didn't see them change the freaking overtime rules. They
tried to.
Allen in his sad face. Did they try to?
They tried to, but they
denied.
Didn't.
Yeah,
it got denied by the other owners. Then when it happened to the Chiefs, then they switched
against the Bills. When it happened to Chiefs against the Bills, yeah,
literally back-to-back years.
The whole rigging thing is so ridiculous. Like, you've got 31 other owners. Like, they're all buying. Like, they have a rooting interest in the Chiefs winning 3 Super Bowls in a row. It's crazy to me.
Pretty silly.
But it's funny that that starts as just conspiracy chatter on social media, and then actual media outlets give it legitimacy by talking about it. And Mahomes, I don't know if you guys saw this, Mahomes and Kelsey were asked about it, or there were people there last night at the opening ceremony.
I don't think there were people. I think there was one guy.
Yeah.
And he was he was a clown. And he went to Mahomes and he went to Kelsey. Kelsey wasn't having it.
Kelsey refused to answer the question, just kind of moved on, dismissed it.
Kelsey played it straight, or Mahomes played it straight, but Kelsey, wasn't having it.
But then there was also somebody else, I think it was maybe a child, who asked Kelsey, what's the question you would ask the media? And I think he said, why are you guys leaning into the refs?
So the refs fixated on this. Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, it came up. It's
honestly, what I've said, it's a loser mentality.
Yeah.
Complaining about the refs, because we were losers, or the Chiefs were losers, and we complained about Tom Brady, and the Patriots are getting all the calls because we were losers. But now we are no longer losers, and I see it more clearly now that that's what losers do, is they complain about the refs.
I just don't understand the Chiefs fans that are just so worked up about it. It's not like they're going to pull the rings off your fingers. I mean, won those Super Bowls anyway. You've won all those playoffs. I mean, why are you? What's the saying? Lions don't care about the opinions of sheep or whatever it is.
Oh,
but you know what I mean? Like
bird in the hand.
Like what?
No,
it's got to be your bowl. You can get a good look at a T-bone steak. That's got to be your bowl.
You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? It's why do people why do you care? Like, why do you care that people are saying that the refs are, fixing?
I think it's because the Chiefs are finally winners, and now we want everybody to acknowledge it, and everybody's kind of turning their back, saying, "Oh,
they do when they win the game, when they win the Super Bowl, when they have the parade." It's like,
the only one that bugs me is that the people that talk about, well, like now I appreciate the Patriots. They're the ones that did it right or whatever, and
that's hilarious.
They're the ones that have the legit cheating scandals.
Right. They cheated.
They investigate
deflated balls. And
do we just forget about that? Like, I don't know.
It's selective memory. It's it's gotten to the point where I can't get, because Twitter or X is where I go during the game. Like that's where I'm at, but I can't even, I can't even pull that up anymore because it's just all just bitching about the Chiefs and the refs, and I can't do it.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
I also get my news from X, and it's just become untenable, guys.
Yeah.
So, Chris, we want to show you that a couple of years ago, after we beat Philly, we beat Philly in the Super Bowl.
You played a good game.
I played. Thank you.
Thanks, man.
There's a local company here, Shadow Milk, and they created a special flavor of milk. Do you guys remember what it was called?
God,
was it?
I
Eagles
remember
tears?
Niners. I remember Niners tears.
Eagles tears.
Eagles tears.
You have to blow that up a little bit. Can you blow that
I
up?
tried. It
Okay.
isn't.
Bobby knows how to blow.
Eagles tears. So we can send you a jar of Eagles tears if you'd like.
Andrew has my address, so please send in bulk.
Yeah.
It saddens me because no one in Philadelphia, if we had won, would do anything that crass or crude. When we Philadelphians, we take things in stride, and we're kind of above the moment.
Very classy,
especially when it has to do with the female Packer fans in the
or
stands.
Santa, or anything,
or greased up light poles.
Yeah.
Oh, that guy died, Andrew. Show some respect.
I didn't think there was one. I didn't think there was one guy. I thought they do that all the time.
No, it wasn't even a guy. Wasn't it a kid last week? It was a kid, I think.
In Philadelphia?
What happened?
I did not hear about this.
Like a teenager. Like
it's like 19, like so.
19. But still, kid. I mean, teenager fell off the light pole and died.
Natural selection.
Yeah.
Natural selection. I tend to agree with that,
I think we have our Quit Acting Stupid award.
Well, let's get into
that kid.
Yeah.
Let's get into
Postmortem.
But he died. I don't think we should be laughing as much as I.
He definitely did quit acting stupid. Then
what goes up must come down, didn't he? I mean, what did he think that he was? Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Well, present company excluded when I say I hate Philly fan. By the way, so
what?
Yes.
None of us give a shit. Oh, so.
I love the video of the kid in the Commander's jersey last week, and people were just they kept taking his hat off and throwing it, and I'm like, kid, don't put the hat back on. Like, why do you keep putting it on? Like everybody keeps taking it off.
I didn't know about this.
I don't know if it was but I don't know if it was the same kid, but I saw something like that where somebody did it on what they were doing it on purpose. Like they were a plant, they were trying to get as many.
I had heard something like that too.
I don't know.
That might have been somebody different though too.
In today's viral world where, everybody wants to be Instagram famous, I think that there was something to it that I think it was done for the cameras. But, well, what's been going on in the news? You want to move to that?
Oh, I guess we could. We did have some stuff we want to talk about with the Grammys, and that'll lead us into our award winner for the week.
Yeah. Did you guys see Chris, did you see the Grammys this week?
No, I don't. I'm glad that not like us won all those. Like, I just like that there's a fucking beef track on Drake, and then that goes on to win all these awards. Like, is Drake retired now? Like, at that point, you just
beef
leave.
track.
Right?
Beef track.
You got beef track from our show, right?
Beef track. No, am I saying it wrong?
No, yes, you are, but that's how we say it.
For what? So
we call it a beef track on this show.
tracks.
We did a whole episode on it.
I believe it's
no. That's
other people. I believe it's a diss track.
Diss track, and you have beef, but it's not a beef track.
I called
beef
it.
tracks.
They made fun of me because I called it a beef track.
Beef tracks are what like shit stains in your underwear, I think. So that's
okay.
I feel
that's
like
what beef
mom
tracks
right
are. Beef tracks.
But you know what? Kendrick Lamar has a chance to have a great, like one of the best weeks ever to sweep the Grammys and then perform the Super Bowl halftime show
for no money.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know those guys don't get paid.
They don't
They
get
do not
paid.
get paid.
I figured too, it's got to be. I mean, if you are the Super Bowl halftime show, you've reached a status where maybe you don't need to be paid for it,
right?
But I was also thinking the exposure and the eyeballs. But again, I don't even think they need that either.
They don't pay the dancers though either. The dancers have like these very strict rehearsal. Like there's a week-long regime that they have to go through. They can't have their phones. They're not like provided meals. It's like all the things you would get like on a set. They don't have any of those or pay. It's wild.
I know some of the dancers. I knew a couple of the dancers on the halftime show with Snoop and Dre and 50 Cent and stuff. I knew a couple of the dancers were choreographers for my daughter. But
that's
real
cool.
quick, the Grammys. We were talking about Kendrick Lamar and the Grammys. I don't know if you guys did. Anybody else catch this? So he won 5 awards. He swept his categories, whatever. Okay, his attire for the evening was, do you know what that's known as? He had denim jeans on and denim jacket. That's a Canadian tuxedo.
Mm-hmm.
That was a shot at Drake. Anybody else get that? Drake's
Canadian? I didn't.
That's so
he was
cool.
wearing a Canadian tuxedo. Drake's from Canada. That was a little dig at him, man.
I mean,
what's that?
Because Drake's Canadian.
You're from Canada. Like,
yeah.
Like that's supposed to be
you're from Canada.
Dig.
You're going to be our 51st state, so watch out.
I mean, it's just the idea, kind of like Chris said. It's like, can Drake even show his face anymore now? Because it's like you have all these people singing along with the song and loving just, you know, he's getting all these awards for a song that just humiliates you.
Well, fast forward, he did show his face recently. I just saw again on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, that he showed up somewhere over the weekend and he had a sweatshirt that looked like it had bullet holes all in it, and he is walking through the crowd. We'll have to show this on our socials, but he's got like smoke coming from him as if he's been riddled with bullets. Now, I don't know what to make of all that, you know, just like the whole Canadian tuxedo, but he showed up somewhere and he appeared at some arena or somewhere. We'll have to look it up. I didn't, and maybe I can look it up right now. But yeah, he showed up with a bullet hole sweatshirt and and smoke coming from the back of his.
Interesting. Everybody's got to make a statement these days.
I wondered, how did you get the smoke? Like, eventually, whatever you have that's creating the smoke's going to run out. Do you have to go refill that? Like, what steps go into making that? You know, seems like it'd be kind of in the ass.
So, guys, if I were to Google, and I was trying to do it real quick and only with one hand, Drake sweatshirt.
Where's the other?
What's the other hand doing?
It's in my pocket. What do you think? If I Google Drake sweatshirt, what do you think would come up? Well, going back to Des Moines, Iowa, the
Drake University.
Bulldogs. Yeah, the Drake Bulldogs.
Drake, yeah. Okay.
Anyway.
Anywho.
Well, yeah. So continuing with the Grammys, though, I think we found our Quit Acting Stupid award.
Yeah, Quit Acting Stupid award winner, guys. Here, let me pull up the picture for those of you on Spotify. Jaden Smith showed up to the Grammys with a house on his head. But Chris, you were telling me it's a vampire castle?
It's not a house. It's a vampire castle
on his head. Now, my first thought immediately was, if I'm sitting behind him, I'm going to have issues.
It's the natural thought, right?
I'm going to throw hands. I mean, come on, bro. Down in front.
my first thought is nobody better let him take that thing off. He's got to sit through the next 3 hours with that damn thing on his head. You do not get you brought it to this show. You're going to wear it the whole damn time.
Yeah, there's no room in the. You can't set that under your chair.
Right.
Set that under your chair.
That's similar to when our youngest brother Andrew wanted the Donald Duck hat at Disneyland,
and you pulled on something, and then the Donald Duck.
No, I don't think it did that.
Now
it just had floppy ears. It had goof. It wasn't Don. Was it Donald Duck or was it?
It was Donald Duck.
It had the bill.
It was Donald
Duck. Okay, it had the bill. I don't think the bill moved though.
Oh
no.
Regardless, he fussed and fussed and fussed while we were at Disneyland until finally mother and father broke down and bought him this probably $30 hat.
And Chris, you have to understand, we come from a family where we were taught as, the three of us obviously grew up together, real close in age. Whenever you went out to like a Worlds of Fun or a carnival, a place like an amusement park, we left the park midday to go eat at a fast food place and then went back into the park. You do not eat at the park because they charge you through the roof.
Yeah.
You don't get anything at the
You
park.
don't buy anything. You don't ask for anything.
The only thing I ever remember the only thing I ever remember getting was like one time at Ice Capades, we got like a zipper pencil pouch or something. Like you didn't get the glow up lights at the circus. You didn't get any of that stuff that all the kids were getting because there were three of us and she wasn't going to, parents weren't going to buy three, one for each of us. And then we'd fight over the one that we got. So nobody got anything. So I think when Andrew came along, he was kind of by himself. So he started to get stuff, but yeah, he wanted this Donald Duck hat and fussed and fussed and fussed. He finally got it. And we were so mean about it. Like, you wanted this goddamn hat. You put this damn, like, he was even sleeping. We've got a family video, a home video of Disneyland. We were at the hotel. He had fallen asleep and us brothers took that hat and put it on him while he was sleeping. And we videoed it. Like, there's your hat. You fucking want it. It's terrible. Worst brothers ever.
We are awful people, as you can tell, but it was also probably some jealousy. It's like, damn, we never got those damn hats.
I didn't want to.
I'm on your guys' side. Yeah. In fact,
I would be too.
I think we have enough. Yeah. We have a new Quit Acting Stupid award recipient as a result of that story.
I was trying to show enough stupid stuff that you did in college that we could rename the award the Chris Genovese Quit Acting Stupid Award.
That's low hanging fruit right there, and it's mean. I'm a guest on your show, and you.
I'm trying to let you leave your mark on the show.
My beef stains or my beef
tracks.
Your beef tracks.
Oh man! All right, that's a good one. We should start wrapping up because that's we got to George Costanza this thing.
Yeah.
Let's see our video of the week. Yeah, clip of
the week, guys. Clip of the week. Here we go.
I gotta be cooking with a partner, but she's never here, and I don't get twice the grades for doing all the work.
I didn't invent odd numbers, Seth.
I know, but look at Evan, okay? Just look at him.
Hey, don't keep me waiting much longer. I'm getting impatient up here. You know what I'm talking about. Okay, you're embarrassing.
I'm over here in my unit, isolated and alone, eating my terrible tasting food, and I gotta look over at that. Looks like the most fun I've ever seen in my entire life. And it's BS, excuse my language. I'm just saying that I wash and dry. I'm like a single mother. Look, we all know home ec is a joke, no offense. It's just like everyone takes his class to get an A. It's bullshit, and I'm sorry. And I'm not putting down your profession, but it's just the way I feel. I don't want to sit here all by myself cooking this shitty food, no offense, and I just think that I don't ever need to cook tiramisu. When am I gonna need to cook tiramisu? Am I gonna be a chef? No, there's 3 weeks left in school. Give me a fucking break. I'm sorry for cursing.
Give me a fucking break.
That's a good one. And you know what? Because I've been talking so much this episode, I didn't get to use this drop at one point. I wanted to let Chris finish the story and then go.
Coolest fucking story I've ever heard in my entire life. That's insane. Can I hear it again? Do you have time?
Jonah Hill.
We may have an affinity for. Oh shit! I just forgot his name.
Jonah Hill. Jonah Hill.
Oh, Jonah Hill.
Jonah Hill.
Well, I have been enjoyed this episode a lot because Chris, you've heard maybe one or two of our episodes, but we have all these drops.
Yeah,
I'm sure you'd never heard us use, and I loved seeing them catch you off guard. All those.
The drop game is on point. I have to say. Yeah, it did catch me off guard many times.
Thank you.
Well,
because we
Don't worry,
according to
nobody's
Mother,
listening anyway.
according to Mother, we're doing way too much of it. She doesn't like it. She can't. It's distracting.
Gets in the way of her trying to listen to the guest or listen to us. And, yeah,
Well, she is your entire audience, so
so we should listen. You're right.
we send out a survey or requested feedback.
I do want to introduce this. I do want to introduce a segment where we talk directly to them. Just how you doing?
You totally should. I don't know why you.
How's Aunt Helen doing today? Did you guys talk to her? That bad, huh?
Helen. Yeah.
But no. But anyway, so Chris, thank you so much for coming and joining us here. Really appreciate it. Coming with the great stories, with the great energy. We'll have to. We'll have you back here, but me and you will definitely do something. I definitely want to tell more of these stories. But best of luck to the Eagles this weekend. I guess. I hope they don't.
You don't mean that.
I hope we just have a little bit more.
Yeah. There you go.
We all want it to be a good game, or do you guys just want a thrash?
I don't. I want a blowout. All this bullshit about this bullshit about the refs and no. Let's blow their asses out so we can stop talking about all this ridiculousness.
I hope Holmes dies. I hope he dies running out onto the field. I hope our eagle decapitates him. And then we play a game with Carson Wentz, and we Carson Wentz.
Now we need now we got to add the Drago drop. If he dies, he dies.
Now what a story if Wentz has to come in and finish the game and get us across the finish line.
Beats his
I
old
can't
team.
wait for that story. Oh man,
I don't think that'll be a problem. I think Wentz could do it. So
I will say this.
I think he could. I think he could. He's throwing to Hollywood Brown. He's throwing to D-Hop. I mean, come on.
I will say this. I do want to blow out because of the refs thing, but because I at least want them to start out hot, because I think if they get up, say 14-0 or 17-3 something, I feel like the Eagles will implode faster. They will start 100%. Finger pointing. They will.
100%.
I also want to blow out so I can concentrate more on food intake and
the important things
Absolutely.
when you get together for a Super Bowl. Yeah.
I have not enjoyed the slate of Super Bowl commercials for 5 years because I'm always I used to make sure I was paying attention to all of them. Now that's the only time I get to breathe during the game. So, but anyway, thanks for coming, Chris. Appreciate it. This was a lot of fun.
We enjoyed it. Yeah, thanks for being our guest.
Great to meet you,
for our
Chris.
guest, Chris Genovese, we have nothing to offer. Sorry, we have no guests yet. Actually, we do. We got send him a sticker, Andrew.
Maybe I'll send you a little sticker, a little merch.
That's our
sticker.
A swag bag. That's going to be the only item in our swag bag so far. It's
going to be a plastic Target. It's going to be a plastic Target bag with one sticker.
Appearing on our show, Chris will receive a Quit Acting Stupid sticker.
Guess the big get it? Yeah. So hopefully Ross Cascio doesn't see this because we didn't promise him a sticker last week.
Well, we can get his address and we can mail him one. So
all right.
All right, so
every other Italian guest gets a sticker.
Yeah.
For our guest, Chris Genovese, my brothers Andy, Jamie, and Rudy, I'm Bobby D, and saying until next time, quit acting stupid.
Not to get into too much troubles, okay?